Good morning and greetings. It's 8:30 on a misty Northumbrian morning, and we think about a Northumbrian saint today. St Willibrord, or Willibrord, was born in 658 in Northumberland, but also in Yorkshire, for those of you who live in the deep south of the kingdom. And he was the son of a father who, when he was a young boy, retired from public life and went off to be a hermit near the Humber estuary. People did those things in those days. He eventually became a Christian monk, and he went to Ripon. And at Ripon, he became part of the community there under the leadership of St Wilfrid, who was an energetic, if rather controversial figure who we've spoken about before. He also went off to Ireland, and it was in Ireland that he received his education, and then a commission to go and be a missionary and evangelist to the Frisians. Now, we're not talking about the breed of cows here, but the area from which that breed of cows originate, from Northern Europe, parts of Germany, a people that had much in common with the Anglo-Saxons of the United Kingdom and of Northumbria, particularly at this time. And he went off there to be a bishop. He was later commissioned and consecrated as an archbishop by the Pope to continue this mission. And it was a tricky time because the Frisian king opposed him, and a number of times he was driven away, and a number of times he had to go back. He was later accompanied by Boniface, a younger man who eventually took over his role. But Willibrord had a determined life as a missionary and as someone who sought to bring the love of God to a people who were not his own, but with whom he saw there was a great commonality. What do we think about in Willibrord? Well, first of all, we remember that he was part of this great outburst of Northumbrian Christianity. He was born just a few years after St Aidan died up here in Bamborough. He was alive and ministered at the time that St Cuthbert was ministering here on the coast and on our beloved Farne Islands just off the coast here at Seahouses. But he was part of a movement that sought to bring people and nations closer to Christ and change the way in which they operated. And perhaps that's a lesson for us all, that Christianity was at that time very much the light or the salt or the yeast that made a difference to the way in which society worked and the values that society have. We're often reminded that we live in many ways in a post-Christian society, and that the values that we have may have been founded on Christian values, but we've begun in some ways to lose that cohesion. And as we remember figures like him, and figures like those who ministered at the same time, we are reminded of a land, a country, a nation, and very many nations who are transformed by those values of Jesus Christ. And we pray in this difficult time that those Christian values will continue to inform and transform our society. May God bless us all.